Okay, hello everyone. I just thought I'd do a quick video in response to Jeff C's Green Shirts Ebola campaign videos. At first I thought, hello Jeff C. I'm in Canada too, so anyway, at first I thought that Jeff was kind of focusing on the wrong thing, which I'm sure a lot of people were too, of the green shirts. I thought, that's just designers or campaigny type stuff, because people I'm a designer and artist, so you tie things in with color in that way, and it's just kind of like a campaign. And I know that the CIA is doing these campaigns, so it made sense to me that they would just use the same green, and it wasn't really significant to me. It's significant for people who aren't awake to know that it's a campaign and that it's propaganda, but I didn't think it really went further than that until Jeff pointed out all the green, and I was really like, all the people in the newscast, like all the guests, they were all wearing green shirts. Then it started to be like, wow, that is crazy. I either never noticed that before, or they just started doing it with these green shirts. But anyway, so I looked into this a bit, and I do have a background in, when I was young, I studied a lot of magic stuff, and Enochian magic, and Lesser Key, and Key of Solomon, and Goetias, which are magic books. I'm not some Satanist. I'm actually very spiritual. I'm really, I'm for the good guys. But I've always been interested in comparative religion and magic, and I like studying all the sides. So I really was into the occult, not practicing it, but looking into it and studying it, because I like to study everything. So this kind of made sense to me when I started looking into the color magic, being an artist, but also the color magic, and tying into MK Ultra, mind control / propaganda, and using color to control minds is a new thing to me. So I gathered some links here. You guys are not going to believe what I'm going to show you here. It's crazy. This is so down the rabbit hole. Your minds are going to be blown. The other thing is, I think this is somewhat of a distraction, because, well, I don't know. I don't fully understand it, but I know these guys probably practice magic, but I thought that was more of sort of a distraction. I'm lately more into studying the law side of things, and how the practical ways they control us, which is through the law and the legalese and all that. And all the law goes right back to Babylon, to early law, ecclesiastical law, right back to the Old Testament, and before, like 6,000 years before the Bible, sort of thing. This is all that law existed. It's very interesting. And our modern day control is legalese. But anyway, so I'm going to bring you here this first link, and I have the links posted below, but this one is about, oh geez. Okay, I kind of prepared things here. I'm not good at doing video, guys, so. The Wizard of Oz, obviously, Jeff brought this up. We all know green is heavily used in this movie. I thought it was only, I know the guy that wrote the book, it was kind of like a metaphor for the Federal Reserve System, the banking system. And I do know, my understanding now is that this whole matrix, the whole world that is spoken of in the scriptures, is the banking and law world. It's all banking and law and insurance. So it's all based on numbers, balancing the books, and they use the language to deceive us through their laws, so we don't know what the hell they're talking about, because we follow laws which we don't even know what they mean, because they're in legalese, a magical language. And then they use the numbers to get all the money, which, when you own all the resources, you basically own the world. So that's through the banking. So they own everything. They own the laws, which are, we go to them as that's what it's spoken of in the Bible as the Lord. The lords are the ones who, if you're buying the laws from them, if you're going to them for your laws, that's your master, that's your lord. They still call them that in England, lords. So you can either have one lord, which is the actual God, the creator of everything, which is God, or you can have a lord on earth, which is a lord. It's called the Lord God with a little L, and it's the lords of that are man, that you go to your laws written by man, legalese. Satan, your adversary. Satan means adversary in law, in their law books. You start looking up these word meanings in law books and you'll really have a wake up. Anyway, let's get back to green. So the Emerald City is kind of about the Federal Reserve, but this is new to me. It's also talks in here about hypnotize and mind control with the color green. So I'll find the first. For instance, Emerald City is green, and green is the 4th point of the Eastern Star, women's Freemasonry, and Satan's color. So the big thing that I found that I want to tell Jeff C is green is Satan's color, apparently. So that's interesting. Next is dwarfs for you. Dwarfs are used in the internal programming. Hollywood hired a large number of them for the movie's cast. Munchkins. We're getting into Dr. Green, which is Mengele. He's a famous Nazi that did unbelievably disgusting mind control experiments, which I'll get into in a minute. This stuff I can barely stand. My mind can't comprehend it, so I'll just show it to you and you can go read it yourself. Here we go, The Wicked Witch. This is an Illuminati ceremony script done by Dr. Mengele with children at a very young age. It was a blood oath to Green, to Satan, I guess, that if they let anyone touch the programming, they would cut themselves. This is about the Tin Man, or the axe, and the old woman, the witch. Anyway, this one is just about more green programming in The Wizard of Oz. Next link I have here is about Dr. Joseph Mengele. He's the famous Nazi guy who did all those horrific experiments on people and children. This is crazy. I mean, my mind can't understand this. Splitting children's minds and locking people up and cutting them. I mean, this is crazy stuff. Crazy. But Dr. Joseph Mengele, also known as, his code name was Dr. Green, and he actually passed that name on to another. They are Nazis, right? Like, the Nazis never got in trouble. They never got prosecuted because the law, the adversarial law system, Satan's law system, legalese, has been written to let these people off. The reason they're let off and they're not held accountable is because if we got rid of them all and they were all jailed, then attorneys wouldn't make money off them continuously being in society and creating controversy. So they need to let these people go, these psychopaths, still, buy their way out of jail or whatever, buy their way out by legal process, to come back out and start harming again. Because every time they do, they go back into the court, which is actually a bank. And every time they're in there, anytime you're in there with attorneys, you've already lost. This is well known in the law movement, that it's called a cognitive judgment, and if you go in there patronizing that lord, you've lost. The attorneys come out with like all the money, the judge comes out and there's slush funds and all this stuff, and all they do is that's their profit scheme. They human traffic us and they make tons of money off. Every time you have a divorce or you want to take someone, oh, he's pissing me off, we take it to court. Every time you do that, you don't work it out man to man, human to human. You take it into Satan's court, and they make crap loads of money off you. It's a very simple, diabolical system, actually. So Dr. Green was skilled at using German Shepherd dogs to attack people. Mengele got a reputation in the Nazi concentration camps for using German Shepherds before he was brought over to America. All these people escaped. They never got prosecuted. The Nazis came over and created the CIA and NASA. Like, that's well known. They're still operating. The Nazi psychopaths, whatever you want to call them, are still operating. And they're under the umbrella United States of America Corporation, which is just a corporation. It's not even a government. It's de facto, which means it's not legitimate. It's a corporation. They're just criminals. It's just a criminal mob operating. So he's also skilled in abortions, weird traumas with babies being born, all this just unbelievably vile, wretched stuff. So you guys can go read more about that. I mean, it's just crazy. I can't even comprehend it. But guess what? It gets worse. So my next link here is, let's go to the top. There's so much on this one. So this link here, educateyourself.org, and these links I have, they're not gospel truth or anything, so you have to take it with a grain of salt. For one thing, this Fritz Springmeier is a very interesting guy, and he has a lot to say about the Illuminati and magic and all that. But I've also seen him on Alex Jones, and that's a red flag for me, because Alex Jones is totally controlled opposition. He calls people back to the Constitution, which is basically calling you back to the Lord you don't want to be under. That's calling you back to the attorneys and being under their law and everything, not free, being under the criminals, right? So that's his function. Give you 95% of the truth, then call you back to the patriotism, because that's his umbrella. Get everybody under to be a patriot, USA, USA. So if Fritz Springmeier is a guest on Alex Jones, that's kind of a red flag to me. So but it doesn't mean it's not true. Again, a lot of this is true, but he's got a function. I think what this function is, with all this magic and symbolism and Saturn and numbers and all that crap, it's absolutely real, but it's a big distraction, because as long as you're mired in all that stuff, you're not going to go and look into the law and actually how you can hold them accountable, right? Like, you're going to be all, what do I do about these Satanists? You can't do anything. But if you look away from what you really need to do, which is go look at the law and see, okay, how do I actually, because there are higher laws than their legalese where you can actually hold them accountable, but that's a way deeper subject that I barely understand. So let's get into the green. So first instance here, this is talking about pain and trauma and keeping the mind in the alpha state, hypnotic codes, cues, and triggers, masters and mother of darkness, altars, and supreme master, gets into the Kabbalistic tree of life, Black Saturn, the Antichrist is also known as Black Saturn, blah blah blah, Monarch system. See, because all this is kind of distraction, right? Like, all you really need to know is Satan is your adversary. It's very, very simple. You can get caught up in all this stuff and not really know what to do about it, or you can just know, okay, there's good and bad. There's those who hurt humankind and we need to jail them or get rid of them or banish them, or not. That's it, right? Because we're not doing that right now. We're not getting rid of them. We're not removing them from harming us. They're still operating everywhere. That's because everybody's all caught up in this stuff. So that's my little rant. Anyway, I need to get into this green. Okay. There. Okay. This is very pertinent to right now, okay, that I think this is going on with these green shirts and everything. I think that the elites speak to each other through the media. So remember when Angelina Jolie wore those green emerald earrings to the Oscars, It was very simple. She just wore a black dress, but these green, big, huge green emerald earrings. I read somewhere that there were codes. Green meant that it was a signal to the elite when they see it in the media, like if there's that signal that a drug deal has gone through or something, like a big, and we know the CIA traffics in opium and cocaine and all that. They're huge drug runners. So I think that I read that somewhere, and I can't find the link now, but I'm sure that they speak to each other, and I also know that they speak to each other through the Hollywood stars and the musicians. Like, they're almost like they sold their soul, so they're like empty vessels, and they have basically allowed their handlers, they've given them legal permission, right? They signed that contract to own them, and so they're in the satanic attorney psychopath mind. If you give yourself over, if you consent, they have clean hands doctrine. They have clean hands, and they're allowed to do whatever they want to you. It's really weird, but so I think that the musicians and all that have done that, and they fill them up with this information, and they communicate through the media with these people. You know, like if a star dies, that's a signal to someone. If Angelina Jolie wears her green emerald earrings, that's a big signal. Maybe it'll tell everyone that was at the Bilderberg meeting, that big cocaine thing with Mexico, that went through. It's a go. Or, that sort of thing. That's my understanding of it. So this thing here, basic internal emergency color codes for a system. There are different code reds, etc., not just in one slave. What follows is not the complete information about the codes, although it's possible some slaves have a simplified version like this. Code Green, Dr. Green's suicide programming, tied to no talk. Which would kind of make sense if they're like crisis actors and they have to sign their CIA waiver saying, yeah, okay, I'll do this for money, but then you can't talk. And it's all to do with law. It all comes down to those contracts, banking contracts and law contracts, right? Like in attorneys' mind, lawyers and these law people's minds, especially the really high up ones, if you sign over your soul, that gives them clean hands. They can do what they want. So that's interesting. Maybe Jeff C can take this and run with it. Suicide programming and no talk. Like, what are they saying through this Ebola green shirts thing? And then there's other codes here. Here's a serious self-destruct, code red, okay? Code red, code blue, victim's body freezes in motion but can't move. So this is just so sick. I don't even understand this. So they hypnotize these people and program this stuff into them. Alright, so the next. There is a code to get through the poppy field trance state. Some altars to get through the poppy field need to put on a new dress and a new image. The poppy field may be called the field of forget-me-not. In this way it is linked to the daisies of Dr. Green. Okay, so that's pretty obscure. Another couple of doctors, Green Bomb and Green Tree. That's interesting. This is Gamma Demonology. Split off. Demons are fathered or split off in families like altars are. There'll be a Moloch number 101, 10, 3, 2, 1. Getting into the Kabbalah tree of life. See, I don't know. This is getting all too very weird for me. Next, Sister of Light rebirthing water ceremony. Victim is bound and then pulled from the water, wrapped up in linen, and a green branch is placed in the chest. Okay, that's it for that link. It gets even worse. Next link. So here we are up at Hidden Mysteries, the Project Monarch, Nazi mind control. So you can read all about this, Nazi mind control. I'm sure people watching this video have an idea. tied to the CIA, right under the U.S. Inc., which are basically the same Roman Senate. This is a Roman cult that's been operating since pre-Babylon times. There's two. There's the wheat and the tares. There's the good guys and the bad guys. Humans don't do this to each other. Psychopaths do this to each other. These guys are all psychopaths, okay? The evolution and Project MK Ultra, we know about that. Alters and triggers, you can read about that. Bloodlines and twinning, this is getting into really weird shit, okay? That's, for me, there's two bloodlines. Well, not two bloodlines. Maybe there's different families that fight each other and crap, but the big two are the wheat and the tares. If you're to take the wisdom from the scriptures, the psychopath and then the human. One is the seed of Satan. One is the seed of, Adam? The one made in God's likeness is alive. That's another thing they've done in the legal system, is they made a whole person. They've made your person, which is a dead image of man. It's a dead fiction, and in the courts they can only see you if you identify with that legal name, which is the dead fiction. So you're summoned to go into that court of Baal, which is actually a bank where they offset congressional debt. Anyway, that gets really complicated too, but here's that Omega thing again. I think I read this. Oh no, this is the first time I'm reading this. So this is levels of Monarch programming. Okay, you've got alpha, beta, delta, theta, and omega and gamma. Omega, a self-destruct form of programming, also known as code green. Like, who's self-destructing with this Ebola campaign? Like, self-destruct, what would that mean? Maybe the virus attacks the body system so it self-destructs. I don't know. The corresponding behaviors include suicidal tendencies and or self-mutilation. Well, that makes sense with the whole zombie thing. This program is generally activated when the victim survivor begins therapy or interrogation and too much memory is being recovered. I know. Remember when Britney Spears shaved her head and she went bonkers crazy? That, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen, like, if you rebel against the contract when you sold your soul there and they own you, if you try to rebel or speak out against it, remember she said, I don't want to do this anymore, I don't want to be controlled. She spoke out. They still owned her though in their legal minds, and so they made her pay. They made her shave her head. They did whatever little mind control thing they did on her, and they made her go bonkers, and they vilified her in the media, made her look like a whack job. You can't escape these people from your legal contract in their minds. Okay, so that's Omega. So that's an interesting point I wanted to show you. Let's go to the next point. Programmers and places. So we've already talked about the original programmer of the Satanic project was to the substantial amount of disinformation and cross-contamination propagated by the powers that be. The two that went by the color-coded name of Dr. Green are a Jewish doctor named Dr. Gruenbaum. That just shows you right there, all the Jew haters who think, oh, the Jews are doing this, the Jews are the one behind everything. No, this Jewish doctor was in league with the Nazis, so that's a whole other thing where they killed all those. Everyone thinks it was, some Jews have put it out that they only killed Jews in the Holocaust. No, that they actually killed overhead. The Bayer Company went in. I've studied this somewhat. The Bayer Company went in. It's the corporations that are running all of this through the attorneys, the heads of those, and they needed to cut their overhead, because when they get too many human slaves, they see it as farm animals, right? When they get too many of us, they need to cull us. They cull us every 300 years or so, and that's what the Nazis did. The Bayer Corporation came in and petitioned Congress to get Hitler to kill them off. And they didn't kill just Jews, they killed doctors and psychiatrists and all the ones on the federal on their employ. That's what they're getting ready to do again now. Just saying. So my point here is the Jews are, we know it's not just Jews. It's so Jews were in league with the Nazis here. So Dr. Green, our Jewish doctor, Dr. Mengele, whose trademark of cold-blooded and calculated brutality has not only scarred the souls of survivors from Auschwitz, but blah 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 blah. Okay. Besides using the pseudonym of Dr. Green, survivors knew him as Vatterton Daddy, Beautiful Joseph, David, and Fairchild. A gracefully handsome man of slight stature, Mengele would disarm people with his gentle demeanor, while at other times he would explode into violent rages. Shiny black boots as he paced back and forth, and his I love you not Daisy game. Oh, what this? I can't even comprehend this evil. When he pulled off the last daisy petal, he would maliciously torture and kill a small child in front of the other child he was programming. Distraught survivors also recalled being thrown naked into cages with monkeys who were trained to viciously abuse them. Evidently, Mengele enjoyed reducing people to the levels of animals. You see, that is a different race than us. That is a full-on psychopath. He also would purposely restrain his victims from crying, screaming, or showing other emotion. I can't even comprehend this. Next, mind manipulators. There's another green. Green berets. Yep, the color of Satan. Succumb to Monarch madness. Lee Harvey Oswald, Charlie Manson, blah blah blah. Tim McVeigh, who was CIA, by the way. Okay, that's it for that link. Next one. I think this is the big one. What else do I have? Okay, good. I'm on my last one, but this is the big one, so. This, you're not going to believe, it gets so crazy here. This link is the one, when I give you the link, it's whale.2 and then Springmeier color programming. So again, take this with a grain of salt because it's Springmeier and I don't know, this guy seems to know an awful lot about classified CIA stuff, and this is crazy shit. Look at this. Training the unborn child. Look at this. Like the common Illuminati work with twins. Mind control. U.S. government mind control. Like, people know that the U.S. government does this, yet they vote for them, they pay taxes. I don't understand. And all the banking, all the world, the Commonwealth countries, Canada, Australia, all that is under, you read their charters, it's all under, it says Canada will be right under this. They're all tied in under the U.S. Inc. criminal mob by banking treaty. So, like, U.S. government mind control, this is pure evil. And people vote for it. Do they just not want to look into this stuff? Like, I don't understand how people can, like, want these people as their leaders and like just have the CIA exist. Like, they're pure Nazis. Anyway, look at this. Torture, trauma to isolate the victim, develop animal alters, like, pay attention torture. It's just... Anyway, light and color, look at this. There's all these links, special colors, color programming. So we're going to go there. I'm just going to search for green. Obviously, there's too much for me to read here. This video is going to be very long. But I'll just read the green stuff. Okay. The Satanist X Green Beret. Okay, that's not really... Okay, 1780s. It's just a guy's name. The programmers want the child to have good visualization, so they will work with the child to have the most successful experience. For instance, the child will be offered a variety of apples to look at: yellow, green, red. The child can choose the apple that it likes so that its visualization exercises will be the most successful. The entire imagery of an internal system will be built upon the foundations of the child's ability to visualize an apple. So I can understand how this works because I'm like an artist and a designer, so I was taught how to design logos and stuff. So I know, and we're not taught to like manipulate people's minds, even though that's actually kind of what's going on when you design a logo, but it's totally benign. Like when I design a logo, it's like, for a company that, let's say, sells baby diapers, you think of symbols that represent that company, like baby and love and stuff like that. So you can design symbols and it be totally benign, but I know that you can use that same power for, well, it's not good to design a logo to sell something. Well, I mean, it's okay, but you can obviously use it for evil. Like you can use those symbols for, obviously, like this stuff. So I get how this can be done, and have and really penetrate into people's minds, like the green shirts. The Monarch programming script for Over the Rainbow. Here's the Over the Rainbow thing again, which we talked about with the Wizard of Oz link. So breathe deep. This is hypnotism, rocking gently, deeper, deeper down. For each color cloud: orange, yellow, green, blue. So you could take someone down, I guess, with colors of the rainbow. Okay, here's where here we are at color programming. So it's got to do with hypnotic programming processes. And we know that the TV is hypnotic. We know that they use numbers counting down and up, like on the news reels and stuff like that. When Illuminati slaves are being... Illuminati slaves, I don't know what that means. Maybe it means those in power, their children, or the children they kidnap. It's not that the kids are Illuminati, but anyway, they usually will get music and color programming. So there you go. Most readers are like this author in that they're not interested in learning magic. However, because this author, Fritz Springmeier, was interested in helping victims understand what's being done to them, it was important to dive into understanding this thinking of occult world in regards to colors. Now, occult just means hidden. It doesn't mean satanic or bad or any of that. Because like I said, you can design a logo. It doesn't have to be a bad thing to use symbols and numbers. But you can use these hidden knowledge for bad. And they do. So, yeah, and there's healing colors too. There you go. You can use it for good. Color can be relaxing. I mean, we learn color theory in school. I paint pictures to make people happy. Okay, so 1940s, the Illuminati. I don't know what he's talking about when he says Illuminati. Everyone seems to have a different meaning, but ancient skills in mind control. Okay, so it talks about... There are 5 primary areas of occult thinking, okay, in terms of color programming. Witchcraft. I think I read this book at one point. I kind of remember something about that. Long time ago. An extensive study of several New Age groups, such as the I Am movement. I was kind of caught up in the New Age stuff too, but I never get too caught up in stuff like The Secret and creative visualization and all that. And yoga and meditation I've always been into because that's actually a spiritual practice. It's not bad. But they can take everything that's good and pervert it into something that's bad. So, Masonic and Rosicrucian, okay, we know they can be bad. Metaphysical books, in general, the Rainbow Book, blah, 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 blah. Meaning of color, physical and metaphysically, ancient and modern times. The Rainbow Book was done by the Fine Arts Museum. Okay, that doesn't sound bad. Finally, the last primary source, but not least, was interviews with an ex-programmer. Voodoo, puppet dolls. They make a green puppet doll if the person needs help with finances. There's this cross, you can think of feng shui too. The name of the person is written on the doll according to the color. Now, all this works by a universal natural law that is like gravity. It's like, and it can be used for good or bad. It's the same. For using it for good is creative visualization and prayer. Using it for bad is this kind of shit, mind control and whatever. But it is whatever you think in your mind. That's the first place manifesting starts, and then you will eventually manifest it. Like, it starts in another plane. It starts with thought and then belief, and then you make it manifest. That's a universal law. So that's what these Satanists do, is take universal laws and ancient knowledge and knowledge that should have been taught to all of us to do good with, but they use it for evil, and they use it against us because we don't know. We don't have the mind frame of using it for bad, so we don't expect people to do that to us. But that's what their edge up over us has been, keeping that knowledge from us. Here's another example of color magic. So I wanted to point this out. Green is for, who cares? It doesn't really mean anything. And I think this is it for this. Oh yeah, I wanted to get into its connections with music. So you go back to the Indian Vedas. It talks about how the world was created by sound, and if you really get down to the heart of matters, like to the atomic level, everything starts with sound and vibration. Everything is vibration, and energy is vibration, but sounds are very important. And then it went on to, Satan was always associated with the fiddler. He was considered musical because he's that powerful. The world was created by sound, which was the word, and the word eventually became language. Now we're talking recent history, like ancient Babylon. Not just the creation of things, but ancient Babylon, where everybody learned, and some lord or someone came in and gave everyone a different language with which to control them, because then nobody knew what anybody was talking about because they spoke different languages. So that divided the people, right? Divide and conquer. And eventually the language came to be Roman. It used to be Greek and Latin, then it became Roman language, which is English, which is the language of slaves, because us slaves speak this English language. But if you want to know what's really going on, you need to look up all the words and what they mean in Latin and Greek, and that's what the attorneys speak, and it's all in their legal dictionaries. And a lot of the words written in scripture are written in Greek and Latin, and you need to look those words up, because that's what you'll find out what the real intention and what is really being said. If you want to know what something really means or what's really being said, you need to look up the etymology and the legal and the in the legal dictionaries and in the Latin and Greek, not in English, not in Webster's dictionary. That's a slave book. I'm just giving you some ideas to look into here for yourself. So then we get into languages, then they started to control us through legalese. Then they started writing all these laws of their own, There's the real laws, which are natural law, which is like the law of gravity, the law of attraction, the law of manifest, your thoughts become manifest. Those are real laws. Then there's man's laws, which are legalese, and it's like codes and statutes. It's lesser law. It's legalese. That's Satan's language. Satan is your adversary in law. We have an adversarial legal system. And it's my recent understanding that the Old Testament is kind of like a manifest for how you're enslaved. It's like a government, it's like a slave system, how they enslaved us. All the old law, right? Like Leviticus, Levi means to levy a tax. Like it told them how to tax people. It's all about how to get you away from God and how to telling the elites how to keep the slaves nice and slavey. And then the New Testament is the key out of it. It's our ticket. We are supposed to decipher it and figure our way out of not being a slave, and you need to know thyself and know that and come out of her, my people. Okay, that's my rant on the Bible. So we're getting into music here. So all things started with sound. That's why the sound coming out of your mouth is very important. Like if you want to pray, or you want an intention, or with the law, oral law trumped everything. All this law on paper is like dead fictional law. That's legalese crap. That's like the lowest form. It used to be considered an abomination. So everything used to be oral, and people used to know the laws by tell each other orally. So that's the thing with the music. So each note apparently has a color here. This is crazy. I mean, like, can you imagine all this knowledge they have? They're completely creating drones here. They're creating abominations out of people. They're using all this knowledge of like the sounds that go with the colors and programming people. I just can't. I don't get it. Anyway, so here we go with the notes. Green, bluish green, Dr. Green. So anyway, here's light and color and pitch. The name Green got passed on to at least one of his proteges. Playing the violin and piano, he did. That guy might be Satan himself. While doing the color programming to his slaves. He was the original master at associating both a tone or a chord with a particular color. He loved using Fantasia for programming. That Disney movie, Fantasia? Yeah, Satanic Disney, we all know about that. Here we go. Light and color, the Tower of Babel. I think this is, symbolizing a court or a bank. Well, a court is a bank. So I think the Tower of Babel symbolizes banking or court systems, or both. Ancient Babylonian cylinders was used by the Babylonians in building their temples, which I believe means their courts and banks, to control us, to control the world. Each level was dedicated to one of the 7 planets and was built in that color. In other words, the Tower of Babel looked like a rainbow. The lowest was to Saturn and was black, the next to Jupiter orange, Mars red, 4th Sun yellow, and the 5th was Venus and green. So that's the green Venus connection. Special colors. It can't be overemphasized that green is the highest color in Satanism. It is Satan's color. This was what made me do the video. I wanted to tell Jeff C. Green is Satan's color. It's not by accident that green has been used in uniforms, although the decision was also dictated by its advantage in camouflage. In the Omega computer programming, a code green for many victims means self-destruct. again, the ultimate sacrifice for one's satanic programming. So they could be so the elites could be talking to themselves through this green campaign and saying, yeah, it's time to self-destruct. It's that code green, which is interesting. I mean, we're never really going to know what it means, but it's interesting, right? The ultimate sacrifice. So what does that mean? Oh, we're going to start killing the people now? Now's the time we're going to cull humanity, which they do every 300 years. The Roman cult does, by the way. So, interviews with witches, as well as a person in witchcraft who Masons tried to recruit. Blah, blah, blah. You can read about that. Okay, this is interesting. This is really interesting, okay? Look at this. Endtime activation codes. Most slaves have endtime programming. What? The programming to activate a slave's endtime programming often runs pages upon pages of coded messages. This is getting into the stuff that I can't even, I don't think we'll ever understand this. A number of Monarch slaves have been deprogrammed enough that they began accessing and spewing out pages and pages of these activation codes. I do know, they program let's say, Britney Spears and the singers and the ones in Hollywood that they communicate through. If they start waking up and doing a Britney Spears where they start saying, I don't want to be controlled, that's when they start activation codes and they start let them blow up. And they're like, get rid of this person's going to give us away. They're starting to access memories and stuff. So they start to blow up their mind and stuff. Isn't that insane? In the end times, which a lot of people think is now, I believe the end times are the end of the world, which means not the end of existence or the world. It's the world of the matrix, which is the legal, banking, insurance system. Everything's built on that. That's the world that they built, right? Yeah, all of that controls us. If there was no government or banking or that legalese court system to get off the bad people, that's the whole satanic world. That's the world spoken of in scriptures. So it is the end times for that world. Thank God. There appears to be a great deal of color coding for operations. Many of the people who are taking part in the end times events are not American. For instance, the different lists of people to round up are categorized by color. Okay, this might be a little bit of pure porn. The red list in America are anti-NWO opposition leaders to be executed approximately 2 weeks before martial law. See, I don't know where he's getting this information. I don't think he'd be allowed to tell it if he did have it without them offing him. So take this with a grain of salt, okay? The blue list are anti-NWO order people who will be programmed or killed in the process. I read this, I'm not scared of any of this. I feel, I don't know, I just have this feeling like I'm protected. And if it's going to happen to me, it's going to happen, but I'm not scared by this sort of stuff. Someone secure in their spirituality, I don't think is. The yellow list is people to be rounded up for re-education camps after martial law. Other countries apparently have different color codes. The red and blue lists have been distributed and are periodically updated. The blue routes have already been marked by blue patches of color to guide those transporting prisoners when martial law is declared in the U.S. Within Monarch slaves, some of them apparently have an internal crystal. This is freaky. Have an internal crystal and or rocks that are programmed to explode at a certain point in time. That's insane. Thus releasing the victim's end time programming. I think I read somewhere that was called Black Ops 2 or something. And the military have something like that. The internal crystal mental image contains at least the 4 basic colors: red, green, blue, and purple. One sample of part of the end time programming was given in the previous Volume 2 book. Still another example is as follows. And look at this. I don't know. Blue ray, red ray, green ray, CE 211, ABCD, JKL. contact, yellow ray, shove, to right side dagger hangs, low on part side fish. Like, what the hell is this? Yellow flags at half mast, green Ebola shirts, just kidding. Yellow dog on run, blue fish at home. This program is related to a slave contacting other slaves in some Endtime operation. A team leader will have a down... This is the scary shit. If this is true, and this network of psychopaths operate this way, holy shit, we have to wake the hell up and cage these freaks now. Like, cage them or send them to an island now, because this is insane. A team leader will have a downline of around 4 people, which is kind of like a marketing thing. If you've got your downline, you have people under you that are part of your team or group, which are coded red ray, yellow ray, green ray, or blue ray. When the activation code hits a slave team leader during the end times, they will in turn activate their people, who in turn will have people who are team leaders and have a downline. That's the hierarchical system, the pyramid. At least 2 false callback alarms will be sounded, tested before the real one. Like, what the hell is that? In banking? Or are these the people at the CDC and stuff? Like, I can't even fathom this. Or is it the military? So, Omicron programming, mafia, government, twinning, theta, psychic warfare. We know they're doing that on us. Nursery rhyme songs, tones and chords, rings, credit cards and tokens. Oh, good God. Enochian chess. Oh, there's just so much info here, guys, that I can't read it all for you. Nursery rhymes. I love little pussy kitten programming. That one's for Jeff C right there. Songs. Yankee Doodle, the penis actually up. Maiden, Aleister Crowley, tones and chords. The Ouroboros signifies rank in the Illuminati. Rings, credit cards, business cards. Rings, Masonic rings. Black credit cards, where they have carte blanche. That's white, but business cards, tokens, keys are all used as codes, triggers, and signals. Have you seen that one where the picture of, look this up on the internet, where Russell Brand is with Katy Perry when they were together and they were at a press thing, and he's got this obey tag in his hand. I think that's what they're talking about. So he was her handler. Russell Brand was Katy Perry's handler, I'm pretty sure, because he did that right out in the open. I mean, I can't. And he's like leading the revolution and stuff, like leading. That's what's so confusing about this. You know, who's good, who's bad? For instance, one slave had an old distinctive skeleton key. Blah blah blah. Sample codes for all altars. Monarch ID code reviewed. Okay, let's look for another green. Program codes during 72 to 76 for Dr. Green. Ugh, that's right when I was born. 73. Dr. Green, blah blah blah. Children. Okay, here's another interesting one. The battle between two Disney factions. Okay, we know, you want to know who the evil is? It's corporations with attorneys at the top of those corporations. So, their big break came when Michael Milken and his band of junk bond artists, see, it's all banking, carried out a green mail on the Disney Corporation. So green mail is like blackmail, but it's a legal form of blackmail. You see how these attorneys work is they have to have clean hands, and so they do all these little loopholes and crap to give themselves clean hands, even though it's completely bullshit. And then it tells the story of how they just take over lands and financially take people over and stuff. The stockholders of the targeted company are the real losers of greenmail. These people are on a whole different world than we're in, than the common like worker. Like we are honestly animals to them, I'm pretty sure. So Walt Disney right in there, full on Satanists. Okay, let's go to the next green. Green mail, green mail, green mail. Greenbacks. Something else that's very satanic. Greenbacks. FRNs, Federal Reserve Notes. Evergreen. Oh, I think we're at the end. Okay, this is a musical. I think it's talking about, the Fantasia film. That's a full-on, God, it's filled with symbolism and mind control and all that. This is describing how to do this to a child, I believe, which I start to read this and I get sick and I can't even read it anymore. It's just unbelievable. So you can read that if you want. Then, what's this? Artificial lenses. One victim describes his eye implants. They are oblong objects with a square opening in the middle of them. So they're even implanting green lenses. Where did it say here? Whenever I close my eyes, red. There. I also see a small area of fluorescent green color. So, like, they'll put them right in your eyes. It's crazy. Okay, within the pyramid, which is within the ring of those 12 gems mentioned in Revelation 21, is the eternal life force, a green light coming from Lucifer. Lucifer means light bearer. In other words, the secret heart of the system is based upon the original lie that man could become an eternal god. The Illuminati altar structure has at its heart the original lie. An example of how rings and demonology and authority intersect can be seen in the Grimoire, that's a magic book, of the Testament of Solomon, where a ring is said to have been given to Solomon, which enabled him to learn the names of demons. I have like hundreds of ebooks of all these grimoires and the Lesser Key of Solomon and the Key of Solomon. If you look at it, like a lot of it doesn't even make sense. I think you have to have some sort of keys or someone to teach you, because it really doesn't make sense if you look at it yourself. Or maybe it's not supposed to make sense to one of the good ones. It only makes sense to psychopaths. I don't know. The Japanese connection, ninjas. It's possible that the green... Okay, here we go. Another Green Dragon Society of Japan passed on some of this mind control training techniques, because the Asian cultures are way older than ours, right? And then the Indian ones before that. So a lot of this, I'm sure there were evil people back then that knew this too. Of Japan passed on some of this mind control training techniques to the German secret societies that were in cooperation with them prior to and during World War II. In other words, Dr. Mengele, the Nazi angel of death who carried out mind control for the Nazis and the Illuminati during World War II, may have attempted to incorporate Chinese, Tibetan, Japanese, and ancient Egyptian and Hindu mind control techniques into their mind control programming research. Great! Demon possession and spirit guards. Pan, we all know Pan, who has various roles, including being a protector of the greenwood. Okay, and Shu, which is the voice behind the wind, which controls the internal weather within an altar system's world. See, this is getting weird. The foundations of a system are the demons layered in at the beginning, spirits of confusion, despair, torment. are called down by the programmers and laid in. This is sick shit. I don't understand who would do this. Lying and perverse spirits are brought into. Like, what? You have to be some sort of freak to do this. Okay, now this is interesting because this looks like what we're seeing. The Ebola backgrounds are all green, right? This was some early artwork by Cisco to convey what her mind felt as a mind-controlled slave. The color programming can be seen in the green, blue, silver, blah, blah, blah. Puppet and whatever. Okay, teaching occult philosophies. This is getting into a bit of politics. Bill Clinton, scumbag of the earth, an Illuminati handler of slaves. See, I saw a video of him being totally controlled, so I don't know if he was a handler. Pretty sure he had handlers, because he was in a trance when this video that I saw, when he was about to go on and make a speech and the makeup girl was doing his makeup. And a good liar. And the presidents are just puppets, by the way. They're total idiot puppets who just look good and speak good. They speak well. Okay? They look good and speak good. They're just a puppet for what Congress wants them to do, what the Roman cult wants them to do. They're like a puppet to stand up there for you to throw tomatoes at. Why the hell would Barack Obama have any power when you don't, if you have the illusion of power, that means you don't have the power. The ones in power stay hidden and pretend like they don't have power. He's a good liar, has his speeches prepared in such a way that they take advantage of the brain's natural functioning to manipulate it. Bill Clinton, when he gives a speech, will initiate it by pushing everybody's green buttons. This is interesting. He will say a number of things that everyone wants to hear and will agree with. Yes. This is called generating a yes set. There will be a number of these. The number of these often desired is 3. Then the second stage is to bring in truisms that are facts that after the audience has already been mentally saying yes, yes, nodding like good sheeple drones, the audience will probably accept these facts without any disagreement. You know, like we love people, America's great, we must go in and get those weapons of mass destruction and kill everyone to do it. Yes, because we're America and we love our flag. You know? Stick that little gem right in the middle. We got to kill everybody to do it. Finally, after the approximate 3 yes set, the approximate 3 truisms, Bill will plant the suggestion. See, such as support me in such and such. I know this is kind of half-truths because Bill doesn't plant the suggestion. Bill has speechwriters. I mean, I even know a speechwriter in Ottawa that writes for the Canadian government. Like, you know, they have people behind the scenes writing what the puppet mouthpiece says. Bill isn't planting those suggestions. If anything, he's mind controlled. So anyway, that's that. Internal hierarchies from rationales. I should probably end this video. Green ladies, here's some more stuff. I don't know. Wilson Green. I think we're done. Oregon's underground secret cloning facility. Good God. Mr. Green Jeans of Captain Kangaroo. Talk of Mr. Moon and how it was used for programming. Okay, that's it. That's the big one. This is the whale.2 and the Springmeier color programming link that I will post for you. And I hope you enjoyed this video if you lasted to the very end of me going on about this. And thanks, Jeff C, for inspiring me to do this video, even though I'm not good at it. I just, I don't know. I wanted to tell you that green was Satan's color. Okay, thanks very much, everybody. Take care. Share this video. Bye.